Welcome to Nightmare Echoes. Listen, scream, and embrace your horror obsession. In this episode, Joseph is here to cover A Dark Song. Why do the characters lie to each other? What resources did the characters use to perform their rituals? And is any of this real, or is it all in their heads? Next week on the podcast is The Strangers, but for now, a movie that had me guessing the whole time, A Dark Song. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Nightmare Echoes. I'm your host, Elazar. I'm joined again by co-host Joseph. Joseph, how's it going?
It's going well. How are you doing, man?
Pretty good. I'm excited to talk about this movie, which you recommended, A Dark Song, 2016. I'd never heard of it or seen it before. You mentioned it, and spoiler alert, it was really good.
Glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, I heard it from one of my wife's friends, I believe. Told us about that. We checked it out, and we loved it as well. So, yeah.
It's directed and written by Liam Gavin, and it stars Stephen Oram as Joseph Solomon and Catherine Walker as Sophia Howard. It takes place in Wales and somewhere in the 2010s.
Yeah, like they reference the internet, so I think it's kind of when the movie was filmed is kind of when it's set.
The movie starts, we get a scripture, for he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways, Psalms 91:11. In the King James Version.
Yes.
And then the main character here, Sophia, driving through the countryside, intercut with scenes of her purchasing a house. She is telling the person that she wants all the furnishings and that she's been looking for this house for a long time. He mentions that it's been on the market for 3 years. When they're in a specific room, she really cares about the cardinal directions, which way things are facing. He tells her west. And then we get that it's a minimum 1-year contract and it's a £10,400 to rent it and $800 deposit. And she also gives him a big fat stack of cash. She says that's for his paperwork and also so she can have privacy.
Yeah, I don't think she's buying it. I think she's signing a lease for it, basically, but it's a annual lease.
Yeah, for 1 year.
Yeah.
So hopefully whatever she's doing only takes 1 year. Did you want to talk about the countryside a little bit?
Yeah, I've not traveled across the Atlantic Ocean, so my only views are from the internet or from movies such as this.
Sure.
And it shows her kind of driving out to the house, and it's just like rolling hills, gentle rolling hills, but there's no trees whatsoever. And I think it's pretty much common knowledge that it's pretty much overcast and pretty much gloomy a lot of the times in the UK. It's not really quite gloomy, but definitely some overcast. It's not blue skies, puffy clouds, and rainbows over here. So, yeah, the thing that struck me the most, I think, just from the scenes is just like no trees. Especially now where I'm at, it's like big ass trees. So I'm just used to so many trees everywhere. So that's kind of struck me. I think it adds to the isolation that this movie definitely hits on and evokes.
All right. And then we see a title card, A Dark Song, but it's in a circle with a bunch of ritualistic symbols all around it to let us know kind of the movie we're signing up for here. She drives to a train station. This is where she picks up Joseph, although I guess they refer to him as Solomon most of the movie by his last name.
It's interesting because like we don't even know her name until probably about halfway through.
Sure.
Maybe the first third of the movie, finally her name's mentioned, and she refers to her as Mr. Solomon for the most part. But yeah.
So she takes him to a diner. We see that he's eating. She's not eating anything. He starts asking some questions. She asks questions back. He asks if she thinks it's an interview, and she says, no, it's not. He wants to know that people she's talked to before, and she lists a few names. Michael Stokes. Yeah.
Who came to Bantam, and she doesn't finish the last one, but it's like Alexandra Pole something. And he's like very short, comes off very harsh in the way he talks to her. Yeah, very annoying, rude.
Yeah, like I don't need you, you need me kind of attitude.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is crazy, which we sort of find isn't really true, but he keeps brushing off the idea. Like he's signing up to get something from this as well. She tries to bring that up throughout this movie, and he just always brushes it off. Like, look, I'm here because you need me to be here.
Yeah.
So we get to the house. He's looking around. He mentions that it's really cold, and she says there's no heating. He tells her that she's not doing a really good job of selling this house. She asks if that matters. He says no. Then he starts to mark over the floor just to make sure that the chalk will write on this floor. Then she makes him some tea, and she says she doesn't have anybody. And he asks if she started to purify herself, and she says yes, but he wants her to go over what that means to her. So she says she follows this diet. She's had no alcohol for 22 weeks. She's abstained from sex, and he wants to ask for clarification to know if that means all sex, like she hasn't masturbated. She agrees, and he makes a joke about how it gets really tricky after the first month.
Mm-hmm.
He asks about the diet. She says for the last 27 days, she's only eaten between dusk and dawn, and then adds for the next 3 days, she will completely fast. He asks if she's a Protestant or Catholic, and she answers Catholic. He asks about the rites, and she pulls out a book called the Abraham. I didn't say it right.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. He jokes around that she's not fucking around, and she answers that she's not. He tells her that he's done it 3 times before, but only once it worked. He says that he was younger at that time, and you need the right people to do it.
Yeah, this book is basically, it has a huge history in the occult. It's basically a story about a guy who goes to Egypt to learn this ritual, and then the book describes the ritual. From what I've gathered, I'm no occultist, so but yeah. So it is an actual. It's an actual thing. It's not a fictional thing that this movie is making up. It's actually a real ritual.
Although they slightly changed the rituals so that no one will copy them, right? Just how
the bit of trivia is that they didn't want to depict the actual thing because I believe the director said that he was kind of just wanted to be on the safe side. Didn't want to fuck with anything.
That's just like, not that I've ever fact checked it, but I remember growing up, everybody said that MacGyver always left a key step out of making a bomb so that no one would ever use the TV show to learn how to make bombs or something like that.
Sure,
which I thought was funny.
Yeah, I'm sure that they did stuff like that probably in Breaking Bad. So no one was like, let's go make some crystal blue meth. Yeah. So it's like,
Exactly. He asks her why she wants to do it, and she says for love. He asks for clarification. She says she loves somebody, but he doesn't love her anymore. And he immediately grabs his stuff and goes outside.
Yeah, he immediately scoffs at that. Like, why would you do it for love? Like, yeah.
So she follows him outside. She's trying to figure out if he's going to do it or not. And he says he's not going to. First, he says the house doesn't work, but then he says it doesn't matter. He just wants his money. He wants to leave. She tries to plead with him, and he just says he wants his money. And I feel like at this point in the movie, seeing it for the first time, he felt like a scam artist. Look, I'm coming out here. I said all I would do is look at the house, and now I'm going to take your money. And it feels like he's taking advantage of her.
Yeah, you get that vibe. Just the way he talks to her, talks almost down to her, kind of mocks her. It also just wants to note here, there's many scenes throughout, but he's like rolling cigarettes. I'm not sure if it's tobacco, marijuana, or what. Right. But again, mind-altering substances, which kind of leads to what this ritual is about as well. So,
right.
Yeah. So, not sure what he's smoking, but yeah, he definitely has some substances that he likes to use.
Right. So they're driving back, and I made a joke here in the notes that they're driving on the wrong side of the road, which I think confused you a little bit. You're like, what did I miss here?
It did until I read all the rest of your notes, and then I was like, oh yeah, okay. I thought you were serious, and I was like, no. What the hell is he talking about?
No, I know.
I even went back and watched the scene over. I was like, I'm so confused. I'm gonna talk to him before we do this.
Yeah, no, that's too funny. So the whole time she's asking him, like trying to plead with him, and he tells her that she could do the procedure on her own. She says that that's bullshit, that she needs someone that knows it. And he throws out one of the names that she listed earlier, Michael Stokes. Did Michael Stokes tell you that? He's really upset, saying that she's a posh girl that went to get this crazy book about the occult just because she was in love with it. He says she needs to use a dating site, but her way of doing it is like getting Titian to decorate a cake.
Yeah, Titian, actually, I believe. Or at least that's how they pronounce it. Yeah, an Italian painter. So, yeah. I was like, what? Who is Titian? Because I had no idea either.
Right.
But yeah,
I thought he mispronounced Titan.
Yeah, I saw that. So, some renowned thing. And, of course, Renaissance painter. So, he's painting a lot of religious iconography and stuff like that. So,
yes. So at the train station, she's trying to plead with him. He says he can't wait to get home and eat some fish and chips. She offers him 70,000 pounds. He still says no. She ups it to 80,000 pounds, saying that's all the money she has. I still think she's getting scammed at this point. And he says she's not listening. Then she says that her child died. Her child was taken away from her, but it was her fault. And she's doing this to hear his voice again. Then he says that talking to her child might be something that is worth waking up in the morning for. And then he asked her.
Yeah, because like obviously she's mentioned that like 3 other names at least. So she's talked to 3 other occultists, and it's unsure why did she immediately tell those people why she wanted to do it, and they denied her for that, and that's why she's lying to him, or half truths, whatever you want to call it. Also, it's like, man, already she dropped over 10,000 pounds, and now she's, who knows what the original price was, but she ups it to from 70 now to 80.
Yeah.
Like, don't know if
Yeah.
it's her life savings or what. We don't know much about background.
Yeah. Or even what she does for a living.
Yeah.
Yeah. He asks why she lied, and she answers that she thought it would be too much. And he says that if it's the truth, because that's what's important, that it is the truth. And she says that it is the truth. She says that he gets asked for what he wants too, but he dodges that question. Then we cut to them driving back. She's cooking. He is telling her that he gets the bedroom with a bed in it, and she will do all the cooking and cleaning. He adds that she knows what she's taking on. She knows how dangerous it is, and she answers yes to both.
Yeah, and I guess let's talk about the house real quick here. It's slightly furnished. Like there's some like couches here and there. There's a small table in the kitchen. There's at least 2 bedrooms, one with a bed, kitchen, and a couple other rooms. But then there's some other rooms that they don't use, and there's also a basement that appears to have the laundry facilities down there, and I think a freezer larder area as well.
Right, because they get a lot of food coming up here in a little bit.
Yeah, we're about to get to that part.
Yeah. He says that this isn't your basic ritualistic stuff, that it isn't like astral projections or runes, saying that they're dealing with real angels and demons. And even with this line the first time, I still didn't know where this movie was going.
Sure. On that, I just wanted to mention, yeah, she's going to be summoning her guardian angel is your higher self, is what he mentions. There is a thing, I'm not sure if you were aware of this, but third man syndrome. It's like typically in stressful situations, people have reported somebody helping them. It's, I think, most common, like people that are hiking backcountry or rock climbers, and something happens, they get missing from their group, or they're just solo doing it, and they're in a very stressful situation. Maybe they're out of food, or maybe they fell and broke their leg, but they get up, and in their mind, somebody is helping them get to the next road so they can get help. And they tell the story, and it's like no one's there and no one helped them. So
Wow.
It's like this weird thing, and it's kind of, yeah. Again,
So
what they're doing, is it real? Like,
yeah,
just in their head because of all the ordeals they're going through.
yeah, it's an interesting interpretation of the film. I didn't think of it that way. That's pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
And then he tells her that she's going to be going through days without sleep. She's going to have days of fasting. She's going to do backbreaking rites and have ritualistic sex, which really seemed off since it's all about purifying her mind, body, and soul.
Mm-hmm. But
And
if you're going to be taking advantage of somebody, you probably tell them everything, especially if they're willing to agree with everything. You just put everything out there, and yeah.
right off the bat, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She says that she's already ready for this, and she's added that she's read the Kabbalah, which is a discipline of Jewish mysticism.
Mm-hmm.
And then he laughs and says that she looked that up on the internet, and he says that this is
Gnosticism.
Gnosticism. Thank you.
Yes, sir. You're welcome.
Right. Which is, it was like early Jewish and early Christian ideas.
Yeah.
Or it's like a
basically the
combination
beginning
of the two.
Yeah. I mean, before Christianity was Christianity, Christ had just died. And yeah, people are just kind of walking around with the apostles, I guess, Paul and whatnot. And
Right.
the Bible wasn't the Bible as we know it. All the different
Right.
kinds of letters and stuff from like the
Right. Like those first 200 years.
yeah, like the first 200 years, basically, and all
Yeah.
the different books in the Bible and what went into those books and who decided which letters and writings from the apostles actually went in there. Because I know there's some stuff that I believe in Catholicism
Mm-hmm.
and is not in Protestantism.
Right. Protestantism.
Thank you. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. There's 4 books between the Old Testament and the New Testament. I know there's 4 books, and I believe one of them includes a dragon, which I'm mostly fascinated by.
Metal.
Right. She says what they're doing is based on the Kabbalah, and he says what they're doing is much darker. Then we get some shots of the exterior and the interior of the house, and then they go over the shopping list. And we got that she needs to buy salt, chalk, paint, paintbrushes, 3 inches, 5 inches, tape, white masking tape, green masking tape, tea lights, candles, and food. She asks if he's sure about a 4-month supply of meat, and he says 6 months minimum, but maybe 8, because once we start, there's no leaving.
Yeah.
He tells her that he needs to get to the internet cafe for a computer. He adds that he abuses alcohol, but he's detoxing. She asks if he's going to be okay, and he says he uses it sometimes for altered states of horror.
Again, going to like the altered states using chemicals to do that, or like he's saying, like sleep deprivation, all kinds of stuff, and this ordeal that she'll be doing to her mind and body to reach altered states. So yeah, again,
Right.
is it really
Yeah.
what she's seeing, or is it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
When she asks if he's going to be okay, he says that he is, and she seems to be worried that he's not going to be able to do the ritual. Then we see him getting ready for bed. He hides a bottle of alcohol in his dresser, which was like 20% full. She's also getting ready for bed. She opens up a book, and we see that she has a picture of her and her son together.
Mm.
She pulls out a little toy goblin armed with a spike club and a giant bone in the other hand.
Son played D&D, I guess. No.
Yeah, right. Wasn't sure, but I just thought it was cool.
Yeah.
The next day, when Joseph wakes up, he tests to see how much his hand is shaking, and it is a little bit. While sitting, he pulls out a compass before standing up and spraying out his hands in what might be a prayer.
And just going back, when she does go to bed, after she looks at that photo, well, I just want to note that she does put the chair under the doorknob, because obviously this guy is somewhat, I don't know, doesn't seem on the up and up, and I think she kind of gets that.
Yeah.
But she's going along with everything anyways.
She's putting a lot of faith in him.
Mm-hmm.
So she's loading all the groceries into a vehicle, and I wrote that she drives a Toyota RAV4, according to the Internet Movie Car Database. She is distracted by the sound of a baby crying and what looks like a mother changing her baby on the ground.
Just real quick, again, back to the compass thing. I think the cardinal directions are used a lot in religions and stuff. So
right.
Yeah, thus the compass. And when she asked earlier about what room that room faced when she was talking to the real estate agent.
Right.
But now to this scene, she's going, and it's kind of, again, I guess the moment really also to briefly, there's not much of a score in this. So when they do use music, it's to intensify it, but it's not to get jump scares or anything like that. It's just a lot of it's mostly ambient, like a bowed bass or cello maybe, and some just other abstract beats, sometimes chimes and organs. But the music's kind of building, and it feels like it's going in slow motion in the scene. And she looks, and what you see is a child between the ages of like 4 and 9, something around that area, on its back on the parking lot, asphalt, and a hooded figure, like in a hoodie or a hooded jacket, leaning over. You see that adult figure's back, and there's like a wisp of white hair that comes out. And that'll be kind of foreshadowing what she mentions later on.
Sure. And then a hand grabs her saying, "Sophia, thank God." And this is where we first learn her name. We do cut to Joseph printing out some documents for this ritual.
And again, this is like, if he's done this before, wouldn't he have everything he needs? But he's printing out stuff off the internet. It kind of seems like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Does the case of why you're doing it change the ritual?
Yeah.
Maybe there's a reason.
Or maybe, I mean, he did mention that he did it 3 times. It only worked once. I'm curious on, was it the last time it worked, or was it the first time and something went different the last 2 times? But we don't know that information. But
right.
But yeah, he's printing out some stuff.
Then we see Sophia sitting at a table at a restaurant with her sister Victoria, who is asking if she checked out that psychiatric hospital she recommended, and Sophia tells her that she's better. She tells her that she's really worried that she is into some really dark stuff. Sophia states that she wants to be her sister now. But Victoria says something like, does she believe in God? And when Sophia asks her what she means, Victoria asks if what she's doing is godly.
And so about the comment on the psych hospital, so you took it as that she was leaving one, or?
No, I thought the sister recommended like a psychiatric doctor for her to visit. Like, did you check out a hospital? Not check into a hospital.
Okay, I got the impression that she had been in one and she had gotten out recently.
I just thought she was just trying to recommend a doctor for her to see.
Sure, yeah, it's unclear, yeah.
But either one of those is a possibility.
It could be.
Yeah.
Not in the right state of mind, you're in an altered mental state.
Right. So Victoria's basically trying to tell her in this scene that she wants to take care of her. Like, hey, I know you're not doing well. My family, my husband and my 2 kids will take you in and care for you. And Sophia seems a little offended that she would need help from her younger sister, but she basically coldly tells her the difference between my house and yours is that your house has 2 happy kids in it, and I can't be around your 2 happy kids, which is
All she
crazy.
has is a hole, she specifies. Stern, angry voice, not like horrible, but she's basically, again, about the isolation. She's now pushing her family away. We're seemingly
Right.
the only family we know that her to have, telling her sternly to stay away from her.
Yeah. So then we cut to her back at the house, and she's loading all the groceries in the freezer while Joseph is outside walking around, and he's just looking for different things.
Yeah, you see him cut up a herbaceous plant, but yeah, I believe he picks up some other stuff while he's out there that you don't necessarily see him take because, well,
Right.
you can't leave the house in a little bit. So yeah, but he has
Yeah.
some other stuff he's like producing.
It's like he's shopping in the wild for stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then Sophia's pulling up a rug and sweeping all the dust away from under it. We see that Joseph throws a branch in one of the rooms. And then we see him outside looking up at the stars.
So yeah, that would show that basically she spent all day putting up the supplies that she got, because basically we're looking close to almost a year of supplies, food, and stuff they'll need for everything.
Yeah,
It's
which
like
is, I
this
can't
ritual takes a
imagine.
long time or something.
Right? So he's out sitting by a fire. She comes to join him after all her tasks that she's done.
Mhm.
And he proceeds to speak to her first in French and then in German. He's asking her how well she speaks the language, and she says she speaks it fine. And then he cuts himself when she says that she speaks German fine. And so he accuses that of being a lie, and that lie is what caused the cut to happen.
Mhm.
She says that she can get by, and he's saying that a half truth is still a lie. And he's trying to let her know how important throughout this whole procedure telling the whole truth is.
Yeah, there's consequences if you don't do everything correctly.
Right.
And the different languages, from my cursory search, skimming through some articles, I believe the book, I can't say it,
Yeah, no, you're good.
Abramellium,
Yeah.
the ritual book, I believe it was first published in German. So,
Yeah. And so he tells her that he will help her with her German
mhm.
so that she can be fine throughout this ritual. He tells her that before they seal themselves away tomorrow, she should take a long walk just to see the outside again, because they're going to be indoors forever or for a long time.
Yeah.
And then she walks by and she sees a dead animal being consumed by maggots.
Yeah, it looks like it was a pet dog, because I believe it has a collar on its neck. So, not just some wild animal, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. And again, can't stress how much they seem to be in isolation, like miles and miles and miles away from the nearest house. It's not like farmland or anything like that. It looks like it's just rolling hills, no trees really. I guess we didn't mention, but outside the house, there are some trees around the house, and there's a pond nearby as well.
Yeah.
But while she's walking, it's just rolling hills and grass.
And then the next day, Joseph is pouring a thick circle of salt, like an outline of the house, all the way around a few feet or a few yards from the house, so that the entire thing will be done. And we see this a lot of movies where you're trying to keep bad things out with this big pillar of salt.
Yep.
And so right before he completes it, he wants to make sure she's okay with it. He says once he finishes the circle, they can't leave until the invocation is done. Not for food, not for emergency, not for anything. She tells him to seal it, and he does. And then they both walk inside.
Mm-hmm.
So a little bit later, we see that he's filling up a bucket of water. He finds her
the next day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Because she says she slept in. Right.
Yeah.
So he's filling up a bucket of water. He finds her asleep on her floor makeshift bed thing that she did. He throws water on her. He's yelling at her, "What the hell are you doing in bed?" And she's apologizing that she slept in.
Yeah. Let the abuse begin, man. God. Yeah. He just comes at her.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So she's sitting while he is cutting up mushrooms, and she looks cold. He's explaining that a magic grid, essentially a grid where you make words and number sequences that add up to one whole, backwards, forwards, diagonally, etc., and used to change a state.
Yeah. Something about they do this in a lot of occult rituals, apparently. Yeah. And other kind of mystical practices. So,
yeah. She tells him that she doesn't mean to question him, but she needs him to remember who is paying He says he doesn't care about the money, and she says 80,000 is a lot of money. He says he doesn't care and smashes a plate on the floor, tells her that she will not argue. He will see this done. She needs to agree to whatever he says.
Yeah, he is a mean tyrant here, and she paid for it, and like literally gave money, not. And now she's being a trooper throughout it, unfortunately.
Yeah. So he gives her one of the mushrooms to eat. She's like, "Are you crazy? That's a toadstool." And he says that she needs to listen. She needs to eat it, and she'll get to talk to her guardian angel. And she'll get to talk to her child. She eats it.
She needs to be pure on the inside as well.
Right. He says that she has been cleansed spiritually. Now she needs to be cleansed physically.
Yeah.
She asks if it'll be horrible, and he says yes. And then we cut to her vomiting later, and he's watering plants.
Yeah.
We see her sleeping. When she opens her eyes, we see the goblin toys in front of her. And then she is dreaming or having visions of her and her kid and some older lady. She sees a woman with a hoodie walking with her child.
Yeah. It's just like a few seconds, like a dreamlike state, apparently.
Right. And then the next day, it seems like Joseph is giving her a lesson on the rituals, that it is a circle, is a paradox, no beginning, no end, but bountiful.
Yeah, they're now in one of the bigger rooms, and he has chalked out this huge diagram enough where there's circles where a person could sit or kneel inside the circle. But yeah, it's pretty ornate. Looks really neat.
Yeah. He says there's 4 essential phases. They'll consecrate each circle, open the chamber with magic squares, and pass through them. He says 5 circles, 5 elements, 5 realms. And then he, quote, says, now the Aberanthalin is essentially a journey, adding that the journey is a poor metaphor, but it will do for the time. And then he goes...
I just wanted to add, he's now kind of has this, like, I think I describe it as like a religious regalia. He has kind of like some kind of robe on. And he has like a head covering kind of scarf looking thing, kind of an orange thing. And as he's describing it, he has in his hand a clear, medium-sized bowl with some clear fluid, assume water, but who knows. And he has some kind of, it almost looks like a young pine branch, or I don't know, something similar akin to like a rosemary sprig. And he's kind of spritzing, using it to shake some fluid on each circle as he describes the purpose they serve in this ritual.
Right. Did you want to go over all the circles and what they're for?
I mean, it's only what he says. I think, circle 1, which is what I assume she was in, is the chamber of effect. It says the element of wood, where we seal our vessel. Circle 2, he says, is the chamber of the song, where we push into the void, element of fire. Briefly mentioned circle 3 as the blackness. Circle 4, the boundless, where we sink into the blackness. And circle 5, the tangible, earth, metal, water. Almost like a montage kind of portion. He's kind of going through all of this, but yeah.
She interrupts him to ask when he thinks the angel will appear, and he explains once they evoke the angel at every circle, each time it'll get more powerful. He says their worlds will merge, but he thinks that the angel will appear somewhere near the 4th or 5th circle. He shows her another room where he's drawn a triangle on the floor and goes over the importance of it, a whole divided by only one, the Trinity. Mm-hmm. In the room, she uses it to gain focus.
Yeah, gain her focus. I think his quote, he says, is "Stop you going mad." So clearly a
purposeful room.
Soon to see the ordeal she has to go through. She definitely needs a place to just kind of chill out. We have 5 days of work, most of us, and we want that weekend to just decompress. So.
Exactly. Then we get to a room where he threw these plants in earlier. He's drawn a square in there, and he calls this the world of decay, death, and brute fact. In this room, she will gain her steel against things like her urges.
Her baseness, yeah.
And then he breaks the woody plant.
Or he tells her to break it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
We see him teaching her some ritualistic phrases and how to draw the symbols from the book. We have a scene where she is shaving all the hair from his back and his arms. He then asks her if she's gone to the restroom, but she tells him that she can't speak in her response, so she has to nod yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is like a new day here because kind of
Right.
like scene to scene to scene. But yeah,
He says that each of the next steps are going to happen over 2 days, and they're going to do 3 steps in a row. So for the next 2 days, they're going to unshackle the house from the rest of the world, and she's not allowed to leave the circle. On the third day, they'll break for food and water, and then they'll do the same thing in 2 other rooms. So this part in total is going to take 6 days.
yeah, and I assume the two other rooms were the triangle room and the square room.
Right, I
That's how I
thought
refer to
so.
them. So yeah, 9 days here.
So we see time passing. She's praying for her transgressions to be washed away.
Just wanted to add, when she's in that circle, when she starts it, he puts a rock down in a square, kind of like a few yards from her,
Mhm.
and tells her to like focus on this rock, feel its coolness, its stillness. So not, I don't know, you could interpret it in many ways of what the rock may represent, from being something real
Yeah.
that she knows is real there. But yeah,
Small scene during this kind of montage where it looks like she pees herself because she can't leave for 2 days. Even if you break for food, but you go right back to the circle, there's no time to really relieve yourself.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
He says a little prayer here while that happens. And may all my transgressions be washed, and make me chaste and pure. May my light be here now, guiding me, protecting me. Kind of repeats it a couple of times in this scene. So who knows if she's been saying that for the last 2 days.
Yeah, that's crazy. So at some point she hears a thud. It has to be during one of these times where she's allowed to leave, because she does. She goes upstairs to her room and she finds that the goblin toy has been knocked over.
Yeah, and the thud, it was like, I don't know, like somebody dropping something much larger than a little
Yeah.
miniature figure. So
Right, exactly. So then they're in the kitchen and he is asking her if she heard a dog that night.
yeah, so like on her walk, right, she saw that dead, I believe it was a pet dog, and maybe whatever they're doing evoked something that took that dog's form. Not sure, but just a
Right.
thought there.
It's kind of creepy.
Because again, they're in the middle of nowhere. Why would their dog be around? Because it's like
Right.
miles and miles of nothingness. So yeah.
Yeah. She says that she might have heard it, but she's not sure. She wants to know if anything has started. He says that's why he was bringing up the dog. Just then, a big bird smashes into the window, leaving blood on it, which scares her, which is similar to Hereditary. And then he says that that's evidence, the synchronicity, that it's a sign that it's the beginning. And she said it was just a bird, but he says it was black, and that's important. She tries in vain to look out the window, but it's too close to the house, so there's no way for her to see it because she can't leave outside to go check.
Yeah. And then the dog that she saw appeared to be a black dog as well. The dead dog that she saw. So,
Yeah.
you know, just like black cats, like evil animals.
We see where she's sitting in different circles, and he tells her that the circles are hard to master and each one takes weeks. He tells her that the rituals are about her and what we've seen of him pouring water each circle. She must become one with the ceremony and pure. She begs him for sleep, but he won't let her.
Yeah, in this scene, it's like they have 3 or 4 poles, kind of probably about 8 to 9, 10 feet in length, kind of coming up to a point at the top, almost like kind of like an apex, like the pyramids, right? And
Okay.
she's underneath it with this, I don't know exactly how, but it's some kind of container that's like sprinkling water on her. I just assumed the water was there to kind of prevent her from going to sleep. And yeah, there's also this key that's kind of somehow it's tethered to maybe where the poles are all tied to.
Yeah.
Don't know the significance of it, but just made me wonder.
Yeah.
Key to maybe unlocking what they're trying to summon and everything, I guess.
Yeah, maybe. We see her in a corner, sitting up, falling asleep. Time seems to pass and they're talking. She is in one circle, and this one's about forgiveness, but she says that she doesn't do that. She tells them that he has worked around things before, asking if he can do that. And he says that they can, but it's going to make life really hard. And she says that, well, they need to do it because she doesn't do forgiveness.
Yeah.
So he says he knows a way around it.
So she holds grudges. It's been a long time since I've seen The Grudge, but that doesn't seem like a nice thing. But yeah, and I assume like anytime where she has a scene where she's kind of not in the circle or in one of the rooms, that it's her day off where she is kind of maybe going to the triangle room or the square room.
Right.
And those are the days, I guess, where she eats.
And it's really hard to tell how much time is passing when.
And I
There's
think that's
no,
kind of the point. Yeah, they kind of stress like, yeah, each thing could
yeah,
take weeks. So yeah,
yeah.
and they needed
Now,
at least 6 to 8 months of supplies. So yeah,
well,
no
of
full
meat,
time.
but they might be able to live without meat after that. But they only have
Yeah,
it for a year.
yeah. I don't. I mean, obviously, when we see her cook, they're cooking other stuff. It's not just like they're just eating a pure meat diet. But
Right. Yeah.
what is the diet? The diet fad carne diet? Keto? Is that the one where they eat all the meat?
Oh, yeah. They, although people get, I swear they get grumpy, man.
Hey,
Like, I don't
eat
know.
what you want.
Yeah. Right. He's like, be happy, man.
Exactly.
So now she's in front of a mirror, and we see that he has a tourniquet on his left arm, and he's cutting himself and letting blood pour into a glass for her to drink.
Yeah.
She's
Then it
obviously,
goes to scene. Yeah, where she's in the room with the mirror. Yeah.
yeah. So she's obviously disgusted by this cup of blood. She says there's diseases like hepatitis, and she doesn't want to, but he just yells at her, telling her to hurry because it's congealing. She drinks it, then he yells at her not to throw it up. And then she looks at the cup again, and it looks
It's
like
full.
it's full again. And I wrote down, like, was there a time skip, or is what's going on? Like, I didn't understand it.
Yeah. Is it that maybe she thought she had because she's mentally, physically exhausted, probably for the most part, with maybe a day, maybe hours. Who knows how much rest she's actually getting? Because if she sleeps in, we know she wakes her up, you know? So maybe she didn't the first time and she just kind of, the thought of having to drink it just ran through her
Yeah.
head. But maybe she had to drink it twice.
I don't know.
Yeah. Altered realities.
Yeah. So later he's studying a book. We see her rip the picture of her and her son apart. She crumples up her side. So she's only left with a picture of her son.
Yeah, in the book that he has, you see images of faceless humanoid figures, markings, tattoos, or maybe like there's something wrapped around their face. You don't see facial features, regardless, in the images. There's script kind of written normally as you would open a book. Sometimes it's like turned 180 degrees, sometimes it's at an angle. But there's a
Right.
particular section where it's actually legible. Some of it's kind of out of focus, the other part, so it's really hard to read. But one section I thought may bring up some importance is they look like tortured, deformed humans. Their strength is known to be superior. They will only make noise if they wish to scare their prey. They are this. They cannot hide in their stench. We can smell them before we see them. So foreshadowing, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she starts looking through her bags for something, but she panics when she can't find it. Then they're sitting at a table. She is smoking and asking him questions about morals, I think, but we don't hear the actual questions.
Yeah, I think what she was looking for was the toy.
Okay.
And I questioned the smoking thing because they talk about being pure.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, maybe smoking's not the purest thing.
Right. I agree with you. It's weird what is considered pure and what is not considered pure.
But when at the beginning, when he talks about the diet, she
Yeah.
tells him that she hasn't been drinking. No mention of smoking, so maybe smoking's okay. It's just
Yeah.
what you eat and when you eat and alcohol.
So in these questions she's asking, he says they're not hurting anybody. They are doing dark things. She asks if he would perform black magic, and he uses a metaphor saying there's no point of going to the fairgrounds if you don't go on any rides. And I wrote that there's caricature artists, turkey legs, and corn on the cob,
And I wrote funnel cake, funnel cake, funnel cake.
which I thought was a good point. That's great. Yeah. My wife and I, when we first got married, got something like 12 caricatures done in the first year of marriage.
Okay.
Something like
Okay.
that. And we'd have artists that are like, you guys love a beating. I'm like, I know I look good and I'm fine with you trying to make me not. Which always made them laugh. So she asks if he's seen much, and he says that he's seen gods, demons. He says that gods rain silver on him, and the dead and the damned, but mostly the damned. She asks if any of it scares him, and he says it all scares him.
Yeah, it scared the hell out of me.
And then he talks about how it's all part of the architecture. She thinks it's about power, but he says it's really about knowledge. She asks if he was going through her stuff, and she says no, but she keeps on going. But he reiterates it like he has no reason to go through her stuff. Later, she's in a circle with her ear to the ground. She hears something, He tells her that they're being noticed, though the things that are noticing them probably don't know what they are yet. And then there's some kind of thud on the floor. We physically see the floor go upwards a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then he runs over to draw something to mark the spot where the bump happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
And
again, was that dog something that was like the first things that were checking them
yeah,
out now that they're untethered from the world? So maybe they're in another plane of existence, and
yeah.
yeah,
He,
stuff for checking them out.
she isn't sure if this is real, and he says they have to be careful moving forward. They're sitting, him in a chair, her on the floor, and she's telling him about her dreams, which we saw pieces of earlier. He tells her that it isn't really the dreams that will happen. He then proceeds to tell her about his dream, which is that he owns a moped, and they both laugh about it.
I don't know if it's a British thing or UK thing about mopeds. I don't know.
It's a big part of The Pope's Exorcist. Have you seen that one with Russell Crowe?
No, I've not. No.
I like it a lot. Every time he's riding the moped around, they have like classic, well, I say classic now, but like 80s and 90s rock playing around, which is hilarious, I think. Later, she's studying the rituals when the washing machine goes crazy, which moves the goblin figure off of it. She runs over to try to find it, but I don't think she locates it when she's moving the dryer or anything. It just seems to disappear.
Yeah, again, what the thing that she was looking for now suddenly appears. And I mean, it's like mid-cycle or past mid-cycle here. It starts kind of rubbing up, and that's when she kind of looks up at the machine and sees it there kind of dancing as the washing machine kind of vibrates around, and then then it disappears again. So some force entity is definitely kind of messing with her, it looks like.
Or she's hallucinating.
Or she's hallucinating too, yeah.
Right.
That's the other part.
Yeah. She's now lying on the floor in the triangle room. He is painting symbols on her back. She asks her to remove her bra for him to finish.
Yeah, so about these symbols, again, we kind of mentioned, but yeah, the director didn't want to use the exact symbols. I read somewhere that he actually, while he was writing the script, he was actually consulting with, I don't know, big time occultists about that. And so I think he definitely did his research on it, and he chose not to, again, due to what they're not wanting to have people like use his film as research to do this thing, or just superstition. But yeah, I think the symbols he actually paint look like kanji, maybe Chinese, Japanese kanji. But yeah, when she kind of removes the bra, he kind of, I don't know, maybe I'm just reading into it, but like he kind of pauses, maybe he's thinking about her lustfully. So
yeah, he just put pause on the Blu-ray, man. You can stare at that. And then I think we have a shiny reference here as he is bored and just bouncing a ball against a wall.
Yeah, I mean, like if she has to be there doing those prayers for like 2 days, I mean, yeah. Like after one day of watching her, making sure she's doing it, then okay, she's really into this. I'm gonna just go over here, study your books. Guess you have plenty of time to like get bored.
Yeah, I think he does. I think I would have brought the entire Wheel of Time series. I'd get somewhere finally on that.
Stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm stopped on book 3.
Okay. Like the other thing is too, it's like, I don't know, leading to how he says he's done it 3 times before this, right? Like maybe he's numb that, yeah, I've done this before and weird shit starts happening. If I start hearing things move around and something's bumping the floor, I'd be on edge, not throwing a ball against the wall. But yeah, he's not new to this rodeo, shall we say.
Right. So then we get a scene later where he's telling her that she needs to go to another room, and he asks her to brush her hair and to put on makeup, and then she needs to get changed into a t-shirt.
Yeah, he adds that he is just a man.
Right. So he waits for her to do that. She's confused that he doesn't have any books, and he asks if she knows what she's doing, basically like snapping at her. She says no. He makes her apologize. Then he proceeds to make her take her clothes off, revealing her body. Then he proceeds to jerk off. After that, he tells her to get dressed, and she's upset because she knows that this isn't part of a ritual. He tells her that you have to be pure. Of course, you can't have sex, but I just needed this to get my mind back on track. And she's obviously pissed off about it.
Hey, he did say, I'm just a man.
Yeah.
The typical, I don't know, man in media, I guess.
Yeah, and then later she's cooking.
Yeah, there's a scene right before this, before she's cooking in the kitchen, where I was unclear exactly what, but then I rewound it and I was like, okay, yeah, she's like you don't see. It's kind of like it looks like she's like in front of a sink, so a bathroom
Yeah.
sink, and she's like pissing in a container. And wouldn't want to eat the soup she's cooking because she adds it as a special ingredient, kind of maybe to get back at him for using her to get off.
Right. We have some scenes where she's doing the ritual, which leads into a scene where she's ready to leave. He's trying to tell her that he told her that it's all a process and that she needs to stick with it. She's still trying to leave. He says if she crosses that line, they'll be stuck there forever. She says that nothing has happened, and he says that it has and that she can feel it. He promises her that he will let her talk to her child, and she tells him that he better.
Yeah, it's interesting because, like, obviously, as us viewing the movie, something is definitely happening.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's in her mind, but I mean, something that she's seeing, and of course, he's experiencing as well, like something bumping from the basement. Yeah, but it's just kind of, again, maybe it's an altered mental state, and maybe due to the sleep deprivation and everything else, that she's kind of maybe forgetting what actually she saw the day before. Who knows? But yeah, she does this, and she just wants to leave, but he talks her out of it this time.
Yeah. And then we get some really quick scenes of her shaving his body again, she drinking more blood, him pouring more water on her. We see her practicing the symbols, and then we see her walk through a hallway and find a flower on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
She brings it to him, asking if it could have blown in, and he says no, that this is it, and he told her.
Yeah, but you mentioned also that he had like plants that he was watering earlier, right? So
Right.
it doesn't look like it's the flower because it looks like the plant that he was watering earlier looks like to me like a peace lily. These look like smaller, kind of almost like cherry blossom, kind of similar to that, like a small little flower, like a tree
Sure.
flower. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So it seems supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
We get some more painting, some more pouring of salt in a spiral pattern on the floor. And then they're eating. She says if she can feel it and that they're nearly there. He says that they need to seal the seventh chamber and things should really light up. Is the word he uses. Light up. She's sitting in a circle and a golden leaf falls in front of her. And after a second, it starts to rain down gold leaves.
Yeah, and like it's like the gold leaf, like just pieces of it, not actually like a plant leaf.
Yeah.
Just for the listeners at home. But yeah. So signs are definitely happening that something's going on. But yeah, she still sometimes doubts it for some reason.
They have some, I guess, semantic discussion over if science is real. And he says science is part of it, but magic and religion help reveal the mystery of what everything is.
Yeah.
Then time progresses, and it looks like she's gotten better at making the symbols on the floor, including the salts.
Yeah, it kind of has another scene, no one in the room, but it's just showing the beauty and the artistic of the symbols. They do it so well. Obviously, they're doing dark magic, and so you get this ominous vibe from looking at them, but it's still like really neat to look at, really beautiful. So, in my opinion, anyway.
Later, he's asking her what's for dinner. She tells them that he should make the food. He makes her repeat it. She flips out, saying that it isn't working. She throws the dishes to the floor. He says he likes her style, and she wants to know why it isn't working. He tells her he thinks it's her. She turns around, saying she doesn't know what he's talking about. But the way she turned around here looked like she felt a little guilty about this.
Yeah, because, I mean, again, when they started, he told her that you'll be doing the cooking and the cleaning. So trying to do a little role reversal maybe, or just showing that she gets fed up. But again, we don't know exactly how much time has gone by. I mean, literally in a couple minutes in the film before this, gold was raining down upon them. He said he saw when he saw silver rain down upon them. Yeah, but then she kind of goes. And then I was thinking, the mention of the psych hospital, maybe she is going through some psychosis as well as doing this crazy ordeal of sleep deprivation and starvation and all that stuff, like how that can affect someone's mind. So maybe, like, again, she's doubting that it's working when you're seeing the viewer watching the film, like,
how's nothing happened?
Right? Yeah.
So then they argue for a bit. He believes she's untruthful. He calls her a fucking bitch. She finally snaps, but it tells him that she's not really wanting to hear her son talk. She wants vengeance for the idiots that killed her son while doing a ritual.
Yeah, and just to add to the scene, like, he gets physical with her. He actually like goes up to her. She's over there kind of by the dishes and the sink in the kitchen and kind of grabs her and puts her forcefully onto the kitchen table where they eat. So it's kind of an intense scene for sure.
Yeah.
And he just wants her. I believe he says that he wants. It's not what she wants, but she needs to be driven.
Right. Exactly. He says that she's the conduit that they need to go to. So yeah, he doesn't care why she wants it, but she just has to want it.
Yeah,
For him to
virtuous.
do
She
it.
has to be pure. But if she's, I guess, lying about it, she's hiding something, therefore not pure.
Right. Time passes. We see him studying. He's obviously frustrated. We see him in the bathroom turning on the water, and he's sitting with a bottle of alcohol, but we don't see him drink it. He goes to wake her up in the middle of the night and tell her that they have something to do. She asks if it could wait till morning, but he says no, that she needs to do it now. We get to the bathroom. She asks if he's been drinking, but he says that we have a part of the ritual. He puts her in the bathtub, and this scene reminds me of Constantine, where he takes Angela in that movie and holds her underwater until she dies and goes to hell, and then he brings her back to life.
Yeah, it's like baptisms and Christianity, other things where you go and get baptized, you come out anew. So it's this occult baptism, and I don't want any part of this.
Yeah. Right. So he prays different prayers as he's dunking her down 3 different times.
And he tells her he's going to just dunk her 3 times. That's his exact words are just 3 times.
And on the 3rd time, he holds her down. And while he's holding her, there's like a scream of little girl in the distance. When he finishes, he says another prayer. He pulls her out, gives her CPR to save her life.
Yeah, it's a scene lasts for about a couple of minutes where he's basically drowning her, holding her down. He kind of cuts back to where you see his back over the tub and her legs are kind of flailing, trying to do her best. Her hands are kind of going around his head to no avail. But yeah, it happens. While he's dunking her, he's reciting, strengthen her soul. Horus, Orpheus, Baal, Christ, strengthen her soul. And when I first was going through this, I had no idea who Horus was because the subtitles spell it Horace, at least when I watched it.
Yeah.
So I was like, Horus, what? But you pointed out, and before I got to add my note here, my wife kind of pointed out, maybe it's an Egyptian god. And yeah, I think you're right on that one.
And as we talked about before, the reason I know that is because I'm a big fan of Stargate SG-1. And so Horus is the son of Ra in Stargate SG-1.
Yeah, I think he's still the son of Ra and the actual Egyptian mythology, I believe. Yeah. So Horus, I believe was he the sun god? I didn't do my research on that part.
Yeah. I wrote that he's one of the most significant ancient Egypt deities who served as many functions, most notably the god of kingship, healing, protection, the sun, and the sky.
Okay. So then Orpheus, from Greek legend and stories, myths, was a renowned musician. Basically, his music could charm anybody, anything. Baal is a ancient Mesopotamian deity in some aspects. I think in the Bible, Baal is like a false god. I think throughout history, many of the cultures in early Mesopotamia were kind of polytheistic. So yeah, basically it looks like Baal was a god of fertility, weather, and war.
Yeah.
Then Christ, the Son of God. So yeah. You may have read about him in the biblical New Testament. I don't know.
I might have, yeah.
You viewers our listeners at home, man. Yeah.
That's too funny. Yeah. So then we have this scene in the kitchen where they're arguing. He's standing in front of the drying rack and he's telling her that he had to do it to get her back on track. But now that she's right and pure, she's definitely pissed off.
Because again, you're going to just dunk me 3 times, not I'm going to dunk you 2 times. The 3rd time, I'm going to fucking drown you. And then I'm going to use CPR and bring you back to life. Trust me on this. Like, yeah.
I know, but he can say half truths. It's just her that can't say half truths.
Exactly, right?
So she shoves him against the dishes. He hits the floor. He screams out in pain.
It's a chaotic scene. I think there's a brief glimpse at the knife as well. So he starts acting like he's more hurt than her little lady punches would do to him.
That's and she notices this. Yeah. So she checks him. We see a knife that's gone from his back all the way through his front. He has her pull it out. It looks really painful. I know that normally you wouldn't pull out a knife and you rush to the hospital and let them help, but they can't leave.
They can't leave. And yeah, it looks like the knife it's on the left side, kind of left of his stomach. So maybe through a kidney.
Yeah, maybe
not. So yeah.
Yeah, and so he says that this is the price to pay for seeing her guardian angel, and this is more evidence that it's starting to work. But I'm like, dude, you were just stabbed by a knife.
Yeah, but there's consequences, as I said, for doing things wrong or not being honest, not being pure. So this is a consequence.
Yeah, he tells her to bandage it and get his whiskey to clean the knife, and he instructs her to pull it out, which she does. To distract himself, probably, or to keep her driven, he asks more details about her son. She says that he was taken from a daycare 3 years ago, and that the person was never found, and that the case has been closed and forgotten.
Yep.
He tells her to sew him up, and she says that she's not qualified because she teaches RE, and from what I can tell, that stands for religious education.
Yeah, not sure. Any listeners at home that know what RE is, maybe the reference in Wales or the UK, let us know. But yeah,
Right.
religious education, or
Maybe.
it's weird if she teaches religious education. Maybe that was pre her child dying, because she definitely does not seem super religious here.
And would it pay enough for her to have this much money to give
Yeah,
away? Or maybe that's her husband's money?
we don't know if she has a husband, and I don't believe a ring on her finger. So,
Yeah,
but obviously
okay.
she did have a kid, but you don't have to be married to have a kid. So
That's true. Maybe
yeah,
it's family inherited wealth.
could be. They don't have to pay for health insurance over there, so maybe that's how she added some money. I don't know.
Maybe. She distracts him by asking what he wants, and he says that he wants invisibility, but it's not what she would think it's for. But he just wants to be able to disappear from most people and end with a quiet life without being bothered, which I think he's getting to do here.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like, be careful what you wish for, because sometimes the wish comes true and not the way you meant it to be.
Right. Sometime later, they're sitting in a room. She hears a noise. She walks down to find that a door is shaking. As she approaches it, she doesn't open it. There's nothing inside. She turns away, but then she hears a baby crying in another room. Inside, she finds a symbol on the wall. I can't tell if it's supposed to be in blood.
So yeah, the scene when she goes to the door where she hears like the baby crying, when she opens it, she looks in there, nothing's there. Then the camera is kind of facing her, so you're looking kind of behind, over her shoulder, behind her. And I'm not sure which room it is. It's either the square or the triangle room. I think it's the triangle room, but I'm not 100% on that. But you see a shadowy figure kind of run across the room as she turns around to go towards that room. And then that symbol, yeah, it looks kind of, I said it kind of looks like a wound, because Joseph just had a knife go through his body. But things start looking more damaged in this house as well as time progresses here. I don't know. At this point, I would maybe assume like it's been a month or two, maybe 3 months at this point.
Yeah, I don't know.
So obviously she's supposed to be the only person doing the cleaning and house maintenance, and where does she find the time?
Yeah, exactly. Then we get some time later. They're both sitting. He asks her what she thinks is going to happen when she gets her vengeance. She says that they will die a horrible death. She mentions that they believe there were teenagers dealing with the occult, and he says that she could ask for so much more, but that the teenagers are damned anyway.
Yeah, so this is kind of the interesting thing. She mentions teenagers, but like in her dream vision in the parking lot, you're led to believe that it's white hair, so probably an older person. And then she starts seeing the images of like an older hag-like figure, an older woman with her child. But then she says teenagers did it. So it's kind of, again, either is not clear on the facts, or is it maybe the police investigation were pointing one way, but her dreams are pointing in another way? I'm not sure. But she does say this. And again, maybe it's just her dream and she never saw this older woman, but she only sees him in the dream. But it's just, we don't know that aspect of this. But she goes on and says that it's a cold case.
And then he makes a comment that they're an interesting pair, but she denies being anything like him. Then she asks how he's doing. He says he's fine. But then we cut to him looking at the wound, and it looks bad. It's bruising and internally bleeding.
It definitely looks, it's not just a clean stab wound anymore. There's definitely like blood soaking into the tissue around the wound. So it's definitely a lot of bleeding.
She's in a circle doing the ritual, and he looks like he's feverish now and like it hurts to breathe.
Yeah.
Later, she walks in on him and tells him that they should stop because he isn't doing well, but he tells her that they cannot stop. I feel like he tells her this so much through the movie. She adds
She wants to leave all the time, and he's like, no, you gotta stay on course.
She adds that the power is off, and he says that's why they have the candles, and they have to do this until they reach the end.
And again, he's done it before, so maybe he expected that, and that's why he requested all the candles. But of course, I mean, dark room, dark magic, pretty but creepy looking symbols everywhere, and now a bunch of candles lighting your way and around the symbols. It just makes for a pretty dark but beautiful scene.
Yeah. Later on, you can see that he's having trouble concentrating. He's forgetting some of the steps of the ritual. We see that he has some medication that he's been taking, but he's down to 1 tablet left. And then we see that his wound is oozing yellow pus.
Yeah. We didn't see the bottle before, but we don't actually get to see potentially what the medication is. I'm assuming it's a painkiller of some sort. So maybe he smokes, he drinks, does his opiates. Yeah. But yeah, clearly a man of some maybe potential vices. Because, I mean, he didn't seem to have an ailment before, but he has these pills. Definitely not in the best shape he's been in his life.
Yeah. Then at night, she's lying in bed when she starts to hear whispers, voices. She goes down the hall and hears the voice of her son. She knows it's not really him, but she talks to him anyway. He says that the dog is after him. She says there isn't a dog, but he says that the dog is outside. He tells her she has to be quiet or the dog will hear her. He asks her to open the door, but she won't. And then it sounds like the dog is attacking him, which makes her cry, but she still doesn't open the door.
Yeah. I mean, just imagine like the anguish that she's feeling here in this scene. I mean, on top of still obviously grieving for her son and now having to hear the person she wants to talk to or hear the voice of, she's hearing it now, but it's, again, sometimes what you wish for is not what you really want, or it's not the way you get it. And so she's hearing the son's voice, but it's, yeah.
Although she kind of lied that was her motivation, right? Because she really wanted vengeance. So this lie, the lie is coming back to haunt her.
Yeah.
She runs over to hug Joseph, who tells her it's not her son. She says she knows, but she got to hear him. And he says it's the price of their rage to embrace it, and says that they are going to get through this together.
Yeah. So it's like she's showing some affection, but obviously this is the only person around, even though they have a very adversarial, abusive relationship. Not sure why he's in the hallway, but probably just because he can't really move around. Obviously has an infected wound through his body, so maybe he didn't make it to his bed, or maybe he got out of bed and could get back.
Yeah, maybe he heard the voices too.
Yeah, could have been that too. Yeah, because I think he makes a comment that it's not her son.
Yeah. Then we get a scene where they can't agree what month it is, but they know that it's getting colder.
Mm-hmm.
He looks pretty bad here. She offers to make him food or let him go to bed, but he says they have to just keep going. He can't get up or walk on his own. It just feels like he doesn't have an appetite either.
Yeah.
Later, she's working on a circle when she hears voices. And then when she goes to investigate, Joseph isn't there. And we cut to him asleep in his bed.
I want to emphasize on this scene. She's at like a desk looking through the books, reading, and she starts hearing voices. And probably for the last like 30 minutes of the movie, we start kind of hearing whispers in the background and footsteps, but it's always indecipherable. This one, it's somewhat indecipherable, but then there's a couple of things. So she kind of looks up when she starts hearing the indecipherable voices, and she just sees faintest outline of a inky black shadowy figure take a drag off a cigarette. That's all you see is this like the cherry of the cigarette light up bright and then kind of dissipates. And the phrases that you do get to make out from this entity, what matters is what she wants, followed by some indecipherable stuff, and then you'll be alone soon. She then kind of gets up. I don't know about you, but I'd be a little bit frightened that all of a sudden something's there, smoking a cigarette, saying some creepy shit. But she, again, no power, so she's guided by candlelight. She walks cautiously towards where the figure is sitting in this chair. And when she gets there, nothing's in the chair or the little couch, love seat thing. And there is a lit cigarette, though, on the ashtray. And I don't know if you were ever around smokers, but my grandparents smoked back in the day. And yeah, they had these like little things that were almost like the height of where the armrest would be on a couch that you would have next to it. So it wasn't like, as you think of like an ashtray on a table. It was like a little furniture piece that had the ashtray there, and that's where the cigarette was. So,
okay.
Yeah, something was there.
After that scene, she goes to lay down next to him, and we see that he is shivering. He tries to convince himself that he can keep going by saying things like he's God's servant and that demons fear him, though he starts to cry.
He's a warrior.
He tries to tell her that he is dying, but he doesn't seem to be able to get the words out.
Yeah.
We cut to the next morning where he's dead in bed and she's standing over his dead body. Then we see her sitting at a table with coffee, but not drinking it. It felt like she wasn't sure what to do next.
Yeah, I think she was definitely debating on how to proceed. Because, like, she clearly, I mean, she can't do this on her own.
And then she goes to look at his books, and it looks like everything in the books have been sharpied out. Even all the depictions of stuff have been scribbled over. When did he do this? Or did something supernatural do this? The movie doesn't explain, but there's no help in those books because it's all blacked out.
Yeah, when she goes, the start of that scene where she opens the door, you kind of hear some indecipherable voices and footsteps running away, like something was there at the books. But yeah, did Joseph do it before? I mean, obviously, you're dying, you're feverish, you're sick from the infection. He's probably not in his best mind. Maybe he started doing stuff. Again, they've been adversarial most of the movie, so maybe he was doing this just to get back at her because he actually blames her for him dying here.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's these demons, entities, whatever, that they are being kind of surrounded by in this house now that did it.
Sometimes past, we're not sure. She's sitting down, the door's open. She's sitting in the inside of that big white line, deciding whether or not to go or not.
Yeah, she's at the front door. Yeah.
We would see that it's thinned out a lot, like either due to weather or wind or whatever. The salt's there, but it's not as thick as it was when we started.
Sure. But, I mean, it's like the UK, right? There's rains a lot there. So, yeah.
Yeah. She has her car keys in her hand. She steps over it. Once in her car, she turns it, but it won't start. The engine doesn't even click. There's no try at all. And then we see her walking along a road for a while, and no car ever drives by.
Yeah, I assume that she left probably sometime in the morning. Sun's up, not early. But yeah, it's just kind of a montage scene where she's just walking seemingly forever, not seeing another soul, not seeing anything, no animals. Yeah.
She eventually comes across a house, starts running to it, saying, "Let someone be there." As she approaches it, the music gets like dark electronic music, and the camera pans to reveal that she's just made it back to the same house.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
And it's like a little bit before twilight, apparently. So yeah, she's basically the majority of the day here. She was wandering around the barren-looking landscape.
Yeah. And who knows, is she in another reality or did she just get turned around?
Yeah, he did untether the house, so maybe, yeah.
She screams no, but then she goes back inside and closes the door. But now the house just seems different. There's handprints on the wall. It seems like there's vomit on the ground, and the picture of her son is in the vomit.
Yeah, I thought it was cream corn. No, I don't know. It's definitely, something gross.
Oh, okay, all right. For some reason, Joseph's body is no longer in his bed and is now laying at the bottom of the stairs. Mm-hmm. She takes the picture to the bathroom sink and submerges in water to clean it.
Yeah, she was submerged too. Kind of, I don't know, maybe referencing baptism and being cleansed. She cleanses her son's photo. Pretty much after this, it's dark in the house. Nightfall's occurred, and she's kind of sitting halfway up on the stairs, and she kind of is looking at Joseph's body. Again, it's really dark, but you see this kind of ashen arm reach and grabs Joseph's dead arms and kind of just pull the body and drags it into the darkness of the other room and other parts of the building.
It's creepy.
Just kind of, creepy. Yeah.
So now she's sitting in the dark with one candle lit. She starts to hear a door creaking and footsteps. She goes to relight another candle, and once she relights it, she sees several. I thought they were like ghosts or spirits.
I think it was the demons or whatever the depictions, that the drawings in the book that Joseph had, blinded demons or something. But yeah, it definitely, if there's a jump scare, that would be it right there, because it's like they're there, then they're not there.
So screaming happens. She runs to her room, but there's already one of those spirits in there as well. So she runs into another room to lock herself in.
I think she gets into her bedroom.
Yeah. So the last room she gets into is her bedroom, right?
Yeah.
Then we see her trying to fall asleep when she hears the doorknob rattling, the dog panting, and her son talking to her. He asks her to open it again, but she says no. He then asks why she wasn't there to pick him up at 3:30, and she apologizes twice. the boy, asks if she was with that man. And she tells him that she loves him, also again twice, adding that she misses him so much and he's her whole world. And then again saying she's sorry.
Yeah. So at this part, it's like, okay, with the man. So that kind of makes you think, is the man, obviously, she already knows that this is actually not her son talking, but
Right.
it's referencing the daycare, why he wasn't picked up. And kind of in one of the flashback scenes, it's like she's kind of dressed up to maybe go out on a date. So maybe she was a single mom and
Yeah.
she was just trying to live her life, and she spent too much time on her date when her son was kidnapped and I guess ritually killed, as we're led to believe. Or is the voice asking about Joseph and this whole ritual that they're doing? But yeah, I was leaning towards that maybe she was out on a date when her son
Right.
was kidnapped and killed.
She says that she's going to get his killers, but he says that he's not her son. He's just someone using her son's voice to make her afraid.
Yeah.
And she knows that. The next morning, things seem really quiet. Walking down the hall, she sees some dead flower petals.
These are dried, where I think the first ones look like they were freshly picked. But just real quick to go back, there was a point where the son's voice asks if she is asking for his forgiveness. She says no, she's not, because again, she doesn't forgive. And so if she doesn't forgive, I don't think she would ask for forgiveness either.
Right. After seeing these petals, it leads her to see that toy goblin figure. And she looks up and she sees an old woman who's holding her son's hand.
Yeah, kind of coming out of the dark hallway towards her.
Yeah, it's pretty creepy.
Yeah.
As she backs away and turns, she sees a man who hits her over the head with something or knocks her out. She comes to, she's laying on the floor of the basement and her head is bloody. Looking around, she can see more of these spirits and the dog.
Yeah, so it's like some of these figures are like blinded or they have something over their face. The figure that hit her on the head, you could see his face, but it's just ashen. I believe earlier Joseph references like the teenagers are damned. I think he mentions like the majority of people on the earth are damned. So I believe some of these things are the demons, while some of these other things are damned souls. And
Right.
I believe that's my interpretation, anyways, is that's what hit her and knocked her out.
Yeah. Then the spirits grab onto her, hold her down. A different figure approaches her. And I thought he broke her fingers, but he cut a finger off.
Yeah, so you see this one figure kind of comes over and it's kind of do the scraping and it's dragging the tool. It looks akin to like bolt cutters.
That's crazy.
Break your lock. And then it's hard to see in the scene, but she definitely gets a finger cut off. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, it cuts off her finger and she struggles here and breaks free of their hold and goes on a little chase. And again, like just to mention on this scene, right? It's super dark down there. It's in the basement, obviously. Just ambient light. No sounds. Like she's not screaming in pain when it happens. It's just the music here. So it kind of uses the music to kind of bring out the intensity of the scene.
She runs past Joseph's body and then hands are all over her again. She starts apologizing again. And then an extremely bright light comes from the stairway, but the stairway is made of like walls of stone.
Mm-hmm.
All spirits seem to back away from the light and they back into the basement.
Yeah. So I think she's coming up from the basement, going up to the main floor of the house. Super intense bright light shines.
So she walks up into the light, holding her hands together in the form of a prayer. And I think she's praying the whole time.
That or she's just trying to stop the bleeding from her finger being cut off. But yeah.
That could be it, sure.
Yeah.
She finds that the bright light is coming from a room and she opens the door to go in.
Yeah, so there's a little thing. I don't know if it was kind of a goof, but obviously when she gets to this door, it's almost completely closed, but yet the bright light's there. So maybe what she's about to see was just above the stairs of the basement, and that's when the light was so bright and then moved because, hey, these are supernatural beings, so who knows what they're doing. When she gets there, the door's almost closed,
So she enters the room, which I think is the room where they did all the big symbols, like the circles.
I'm not sure if it was that room or if it was another room, but there's a lot of rooms in this house, more than they spend time in.
Or it could be in another reality. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be.
Right. So she goes in and she sees this massive guardian angel wearing golden armor, holding a giant sword, and is crouched down because if it stands up,
it's going through the ceiling.
yeah, it might be 25 feet tall.
Yeah, it's
Um,
huge, massive, and just looks glorious, man. Just
yeah,
yeah, bright, shining armor, and you get a couple of scenes where you see really close up on its eyes, and it's like white pupils or irises, just like yeah, just
it
everything's
almost looked
gleaming
like
gold.
glass. Yeah.
Yeah,
So she looks up. She says, "So beautiful." The angel speaks, but we're unable to hear it.
you do hear something. It's just in such a low registered, so deep bass, but it's super muffled because it's so deep. But there's something there. It's not like it's just complete silence, but don't
Right.
know. It's inaudible, basically.
Right. Everything around the room starts to shake. She says she's sorry. She's so sorry. And the angel's just staring at her. And she says the favor she wants is, and then this scene keeps cutting back and forth to her later in that pond, and Joseph's body is wrapped around, and she's doing like a water burial. She tells the angel the favor she wants is the power to forgive. And
Mhm.
that I know hit me really emotional because it was like, oh my gosh, that's
Yeah,
intense.
yeah, because she said she can't do it,
Yeah.
and I think part of the thing is that it's not only the people that harmed her son, but it's also herself for not
Yeah.
being there. So it's like just holding that burden. I know myself, like I'm my biggest critic and blame myself for
Sure.
if something goes wrong. So I totally feel this, like
Yeah.
just not being able to like kind of just let things go and forgive. So yeah.
Right. I
Ugh.
heard someone say recently the people that are able to forgive are the best sleepers at night because
Yeah.
they're just not up there worrying about the other thing,
Still got
which
something
is
eating at your
pretty intense.
conscience. Yeah, man.
Yeah. So we see her complete the water burial ritual. Then we get a few shots of the house and then her in her car, which seems to start fine. She drives away tearing up. Her hand is bandaged.
This is where you
Um,
see it's her left hand, by the way, and it
mhm.
is her ring finger.
Yep.
And I did check. Yeah, I think in the UK they do wear their wedding bands on that finger. So not sure how you want to
Okay.
read that, but not putting a wedding ring on that finger. So maybe she's not going to get married. Maybe she can't love anybody else after going through this ordeal. Multiple ways you could read it, but yeah, definitely thought it had some
And then
definitely had some significance.
right. And then I put that another car passes her by, which is a good sign because she's not stuck in her own reality. But then I made the joke that, but she's still driving on the wrong side of the road. So someone's going to get hurt if they keep doing this.
Yep.
uh, the credits roll. And I noticed during the credits that it said that the film was sponsored by the National Lottery. And I think that's kind of cool that their National Lottery has a fund that goes into art, which I think is pretty neat.
Yeah, same with the last movie we did together was The Babadook, and
Yeah.
yeah, like that was also kind of crowdfunded and everything. So hey, you don't
So I
always have
went
to
through,
have like a big Hollywood studio or something to make your movies, which is I don't know, I like that.
yeah, I do too. I went through all the special features, at least that were on the DVD that I had.
Okay.
And the director, the one note that I took from his interview was that he really wanted to see how much he can do in one location, how far he can push the story, and what would come of that story like that, which I thought was
Yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah, I read that like it's the exterior of a house, but they actually filmed it in a separate house.
Then what I really like to focus on are the deleted scenes. There's some
Sure,
that
I didn't get to see
I
these, so I'm very
yeah,
interested.
there's some that don't have much that they bring to the movie, then I can see why they were cut. We have Sophia in a hotel room. This is, I think, before she goes to see the house. She's lighting a candle. This is where she's trying to purify herself through prayer. And as she's praying, she just suddenly appears at the ocean when she opens her eyes. And this old woman comes to check on her, see if she's okay. And she's like, I'm at the ocean. And then the woman's like, okay, she's crazy, and walks away.
And is that older woman, does it look like the older woman we see in the film that has the
It
kid?
doesn't. It just
Okay.
seems like a sweet old lady that was just check on somebody that looked like she might be in trouble.
Okay.
Then we have this scene here that will cut with another scene later. We see that before they enter the house with the salt, Solomon opens up the hood of her car and takes out the carburetor. And
Okay.
then he just throws it into the pond.
That definitely would have led to the he's just fucking with her.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but she's there when he's doing it.
Oh,
Like
she
so
sees him take it?
like this is part of the we can't leave. This is you won't be able to leave, so you're not even gonna I'm not gonna let you want to leave because your car's not gonna work.
Another way to do that would just be to throw the keys in there, then
Yeah,
just take a part of the engine out, but okay,
right.
yeah.
Then we have a scene where he's complaining about the food. that it's always the same. And she says that they have a 2-week rotation. That's the only way to make it not bland. She doesn't know how to make him happy, but he says if we can have the chicken Kiev tomorrow instead of Friday, that would make him happier. So she says, fine, I'll cook it tomorrow. It was an interesting scene.
Okay.
We have a scene where Joseph is telling her that he was once a priest, that he learned all of this stuff by traveling the world, visiting libraries for all these rare books. He eventually apprenticed for a guy named William Jasper, who died, but the order that guy was in is now hunting him down.
Okay.
Which
I think
is
that scene would
interesting.
have been nice to have a little bit more backstory on him.
Right.
But I don't know, the way it's done, you kind of, is he a charlatan or is he legit?
Yeah.
You kind of go back and forth. Is he both? Maybe.
Yeah, I think it works.
Yeah. I mean, definitely the way the movie is, Final Cut, it definitely works. But yeah, just I always want to know more of like behind the
Yeah, of
scenes, like
course.
what actually happened with the kid. Was she
And then,
married? Not. And yeah.
right. Yeah, I definitely like these for that kind of interesting, like, oh, well, I do get to learn a little bit.
Yeah.
So in that same scene, he then tells a story about how he once summoned a beast into one of the circles, and then 3 people that were with him couldn't handle it. They started fighting amongst each other after like 4 days, but he just stared at it the whole time and he kept his cool. And he described it as because he's a man, he could stare into the sun. Then we have a scene which I think was supposed to take place after he said he knows it's not her son's voice, where he could barely stand. She's helping him up with the stairs. In this scene again, she asks if they really can finish, and he says they have to, and he thinks that they're close.
Okay.
And then in the scene we do have where she goes out and tries to start the car, she knows it won't turn on according to this deleted scene because there's no carburetor, but she tries anyway. But then she opens the hood to look at where the carburetor would go. Then we see her in a t-shirt and panties, and she's going into the pond looking for the carburetor. First thing she finds is a rusty bicycle handlebar before she finds the carburetor. She's able to reinstall it herself, but then attempts to turn the car on and still won't turn over.
Okay. I mean, I guess you could interpret that as, I mean, she's maybe forgetful and she doesn't remember that he did that. I mean, going through all this intense, stressful ordeals in the ritual could definitely do that to somebody. Yeah.
And then the original ending, we still have the same where she's driving away with her hand bandaged and that car passes her. But then we see her standing by this wooden fence by the ocean, and she turns around. She sees her sister and her 2 nieces who are all excited to see her. Sophia has a smile, but it still looks like there's a little sadness to me in her face. And then the movie, that's it.
That's interesting because, like, I don't know. Yeah, maybe that ending kind of provided too much closure, like shows everything's good and happy. Whereas this one, the way it officially ends, it's released, she gets out. I think driving by another person, she did get through it, and she's back in her own normal reality. But you don't know exactly how she feels. Like, she doesn't smile or anything. She's just kind of driving. So yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I really liked it. Thank you for recommending it.
Yeah, definitely, dude.
I like being able to see movies I've never heard of.
Right.
Yeah, that's always fun. Yeah. Well, thank you everybody for listening. Thank you, Joseph, for being here.
Of course.
We put out episodes every Monday. If you want to follow us on Instagram, we're at Nightmare Eggless Pod. We're also on Threads under the same name. Hopefully you hear us again next week. Bye.
See ya.
Right. I made a joke once that where was it at? But I made a joke once that someone was saying how someone had saved someone's kid, and the husband, the way he treated the person that saved the child was with no respect or whatever. And someone's like, it's like they didn't even care that one of their children was saved. And I made the joke, it's like, well, that's why we had 3. And people were like, oh, that's wrong.
But I mean, that's if you look back at history and families are having
Yeah.
huge 7, 8 kids because they needed them to work on the farm because hey, there's no child labor laws, and yeah, you didn't
Yeah.
know how many of them were gonna die in the first 5 years of their lives. So yeah,
Yeah. Both of my parents were of 14, which
wow,
was crazy. So I have 96 first cousins, which is just this massive family. But yeah, their parents told them, "Oh, we didn't know how many of you guys would live,"
yeah.
like, which is
I
insane.
mean,
All right.